So how do you go about creating a beautiful and natural looking waterfall? I want to share with you some tips I've learned along the way. Welcome to the natural swimming pond at United Ranch. Okay, so now that you have your pond liner installed and trenched, one pond liner for the pond and the bog, you're gonna want to start your waterfall project. This is the fun part. If you got an artsy side to you, you're gonna really enjoy this part. So you don't have to, but me, I have a 45 mil RPE liner, super strong liner. I don't really need a double liner for these heavy rocks, but guess what? I did, right? Better safe than sorry for me, a little peace of mind. And I had extra liner from where I cut it off because I don't have a square pond, so it kind of shapes, odd shapes. So those odd shapes where it goes in, because you measure at the widest, where those go in, I just snipped it after the trench, it goes up out of the trench. I just cut those. So I had a bunch of leftover pond liner. So I laid that up. I have all this where these rocks are. They are covered by double liner going all the way up to the top of those rocks right there. Then you're gonna start. The only thing I hired out was the excavator. I don't have a tractor or a bobcat, anything like that. So these rocks, actually the only rocks that I bought from here that I already didn't have were those flagstones right there, and I'll get to in a bit. But so all these boulders were from underground, and that just shows how hard of a dig this was. But I used from this dig those rocks that I dug from right here. And it literally was me, usually just a buddy or two, going like Egyptian pyramid status, you know, like metal rods and going under and then all lifting up on three and then going one side, bending it, going here, tilting it, exactly positioning them how you want them to stable, how to look, how to be supportive. So the big rocks on the bottom, obviously, you're gonna put them on that shelf that you dug out. This is a section that you don't have a trench in for the liner because you just made a shelf for those big rocks. Start with the big rocks and then work your way up. Go smaller, but not just all, you know, big to small, but you know, even it out. I mean, I got some big rocks up here. You want to make it look as natural as you can and then fill it in with small rocks, the crevices and all that kind of stuff. About halfway, if you're gonna do, like for me, I wanted a couple of falls because that's more sound, more aeration, more oxygen. Really, this is your designing technique. Do you want to have more of a stream? Then you don't even need to get these flagstones. You can just have the water trickle down over the rock and not much of a sound. But I wanted the sound, I wanted the splash, I wanted loudness, drown out like car noise. That's why I have two falls. I got that sound from that top fall and this one from the bottom one splashing into the water. And I love it. The type of flagstone, really flagstone is just a type of cut, actually sandstone rock. So it's a Arizona blush sandstone in a flagstone cut. Those two together were about 470 pounds. I got them for like a little over 100 bucks for both of them, like 130 bucks. Well worth it, well worth it. And those were the only rocks that I bought here. So you're gonna, about halfway up your build on the rocks, make those rocks level. I put about half of that flagstone or that sandstone on it. And then keep on building. Keep on adding heavy rocks over here on top of the flagstone and add it until you get to that. And what do you do again? You make this flagstone level. So make those rocks underneath this flagstone level to put that right over it. And then just have fun. Literally, I could put a rock. Let me demonstrate. This is like a loose rock. Here. If I were, any little rock is gonna change the direction of this waterfall, right? So if I want this, see now this water is going on my boot. It's going on the boot and I'm gonna get more of a stream this way. I wanna direct it all this way. How do you want your waterfall? This is a cool thing about design. I could have a row of rock and have this middle section, no water, and it comes out here. gushing down, but then it would miss my bottom flagstone. I have those rocks literally just placed there. Those plants were just grew by themselves. But that's to direct it so I could see the waterfall from my house and not the fall going this way, away from my house. I wanted to see the water come off the rock. So again, all this is how you want, where you want the fall, where do you want to see the fall, how do you want it to sound. It's pretty fun. It's really fun. After you put this flagstone on, I put on another liner. The liner goes from right here to over that end. And what it's doing is just making sure that that bog filter water doesn't go underneath that double liner or underneath these rocks, right? I want to direct this water there to my waterfall, okay? You are directing the water where you want it. So I have this double liner here flaring up the walls, and it flares up to the walls until that flagstone, till about here, right here. And then it curves around this last rock that's on top of the flagstone. It curls around here over the flagstone. That makes all that bog filter water go over the flagstone, not under the flagstone. You want to enjoy and seeing the water, not going underneath everything. And it's same with that side. It's going, curling around those rocks and over that flagstone. How I connected it was where it met flat with the regular, my main liner. I just put some constructive waterproof sealant and then put that, just did a glob of that under those two, with meeting those two liners, and then put like heavy rocks on it and left on it for a couple days just to make sure it's sealed so the water doesn't get in between those liners and in underneath these rocks. And then on the edges, I put water foam sealant, that black water foam sealant. Ideally, if I were to do it over again, I would buy RPE. They have special RPE tape that will really waterproof it, really bonds those liners together. And so the flat surfaces, do a double-sided RPE tape. You could even do a single-sided RPE tape over the edges. You could really seal that, So that's what I would do if I did it again. But the ones that are like edges, weird shapes, like around here on the corners, I have some weird shapes or gaps that I need to fill in. That's where I just gunked it with the waterproof sealant and water foam sealant. Let's say this corner, this is waterfall foam right here, and there's mixed with constructive adhesive under here, right there. Right here is waterfall foam because I have two pieces coming together. Some more waterfall foam under here, preventing that water from going back in there in that overlap right here and directing it down the waterfall. See, this is more waterfall foam I sealed underneath this so it can't curl under and go on the rocks below. Well, this is the end of the flagstone right here, so that's about 5 inches. And then I have this sealing this. Also, after you create and before you turn on the water, a big step is I use probably like 10 to 12 cans of the black water foam sealant, and they can sell them online, or I got mine from like just Home Depot or whatever. Again, you want to see that water, you want to get over the rocks, right? If you don't seal these rocks with that water foam sealant, all of this water right here is going to go, a lot of it, under those rocks and just in between the liner and the rocks underneath, and you're not going to be able to see it. So what do? You spray every crevice. Over here I don't have any water foam sealant. Why? Because I don't got any water splashing. But till about, this is where I end right here. This line right there is where I end water foam sealant. Over there, it's about the same length, just out. Give it some leeway, and I got all this sealed. So you're sealing that, spraying that water foam sealant along all the cracks, and it will fill out, and that will help prevent water from going in between the rocks. This is it right here with it. You know, I've had this pond for almost 3 years, and there it is right here. It's black and it foams up. So when you spray it, it foams up and it looks really ugly and not natural one bit. But I just slice it with a razor blade to make it not all these bubbles. Yeah, I get slice it to trim it, nice flush with the rocks. And then I actually sprayed it with a brown color, especially in like the first year. It just looked all weird and off and not natural. But over time, it would just be regular color. It would blend in with all the leaves and the new offshoots of the plants that come. It would blend in. So have fun, get started, find those rocks. And the cool thing is, when you dig, you're gonna probably find rocks that you could use for your waterfall. So you're gonna have to go buy all these rocks. So have fun, enjoy it. Make sure and watch out for the next video where I go into the bog that I use for this bog filtration system. Hope you enjoyed it. Share and subscribe if you'd like. Until next time, United Ranch out.